Vera has explained the definition and scope of family business, former research, and then finally opportunities for future research, and covering many topics and methods, sample, and so on. All right, now I will give a turn to one who wants to say it straight away to Dr. Vera. Pak Irawan Yuswono, please welcome. You can say it directly to Dr. Vera. You say you want to say it straight away directly to Dr. Vera. Please, Pak Irawan Yuswono, are you there? Otherwise, I will skip it for a while and then we will read from the chat box.
Madi, maybe Zoom operator can unmute the participant because maybe some participant cannot mute the microphone.
Okay, please do it, our operator, because I have a difficulty unmute too. Hold on. All right, while waiting, we can read from the chat box. So this is in Indonesia, but I will turn it into the English. Okay, Dr. Vera, from Pak Iwan Budiono. First question is, what went wrong with the family business? So he thought there's something wrong with the family business. The second one, why family business is worth to be researched. All right. And third, who will gain advantage and being lost by this family business. And the fourth one, what is the sound business strategy in from the family business? Right, maybe you can answer this first. Thank you, from Pak Iwan.
Okay, thanks for the question. So first one, what is wrong with family business? In terms of operational in the business world, there are lots of issues with, we always hear this, wealth doesn't last more than 3 generations. So a lot of them is issues within family themselves. Some of them says that the first generation built, the second generation spent, and then the third generation finished. Or no, the first generation established, the second generation built, and the third generation spent it all, right? So that's the thing about in the operational point of view. So in terms of the research field, then yeah, I have mentioned just now a lot of the issues with defining the family business, the methods of researching on family business, and there are a lot of lack of empirical data from the Asia side. Number 2, why
family business is worth to be researched?
Okay, family business is worth to be researched is because family business dominates the world. So if you look into our economy, actually a lot of countries, more than even Indonesia itself, more than 90% of the business are actually family owned. So family business is just the dominant way. And if we look into just from the entrepreneurship point of view, when you want to start a business, first people that you trust the most definitely is your family members. You will look at your siblings or your parents to work with you in making this business work, right? So family business are the dominant of our economy. So, and they are so unique because they are the family behind it. So and there are lots of avenues of research for us to explore.
All right. Light unclear. And then the third question, who will gain benefits and or loss with this family business?
The benefit is that if family business do very well and they can sustain, they can contribute to our economy because then they provide a lot of job opportunities for the economy, right? When they do well, the thing about between corporate and family business is when corporates, when they face loss, or they face already 1 2 year, they face maybe 6 months to 1 year of loss, they will just close it because nobody else are willing to pump into the money, and especially we cannot find more investors. But for family businesses, the families are actually willing to put their own money and saving into the business to help the business to sustain through this difficult time. Okay, so the business then can stay on and keep on providing jobs to the economy. So that is the benefit of the when family business is doing well. I can't think of anything that is would be lost to the community, um, unless if there are businesses that are doing unethical things or yeah pollutions. But that is happening with actually a lot of businesses.
All right.
And mhm.
Thank you. And then the fourth questions. According to you, what is the business strategy, a sound business strategy from the family business, from a family business? Thank you.
The most basic ones would be having proper, this is really the most basic one, having a proper succession planning and strategy. um, in Asia especially, we don't like to talk about death. Okay, so a lot of founders and the parents, they have this mindset that so long as I'm alive, I'm like the emperor and the empress. I own the business, and you children are my employees, and you work for me, and I will not give you anything until I pass away. So they hold the founder or the older generation will be holding all the ownership and the control and the management. But what happens when things happen suddenly? For example, accident or the COVID-19, suddenly the person pass away, and it becomes a chaos because there's inheritance tax. Is when you are not prepared for the successor, it becomes a chaos in the company. Then the company cannot run successfully. So one of the most basic thing for family business is really having the proper succession strategy. So don't be afraid to talk about death, or don't be afraid to release some of the control to the next generation, but actually have a good communication. And other strategies would be like having proper communications, managing the conflicts well, and managing the family relations well.
Right. Thank you for the answer, Dr. Fira. And then again, we want to address the question from Cornelia, still in Indonesia. Okay, the first question. So, in this pandemic era, this COVID era, sometimes there's a drift or something like unexpected things on the people's needs, because people needs people income will continuously decrease. So what is the impact of this family business? Can it influence dividend that can be gained from this family business in this COVID era, concerning the current situation right now? All right, can you answer this one, please?
Okay. In terms of, okay, some whether how the family business will go through this pandemic, it depends on the family's own value and how they want to do. So I have seen one of the family businesses in Bangladesh, like in 2020 when they had lockdown. Um, when they locked down, the factory workers, the factories are closed for 60 days. So the workers are actually relying on the daily wages. So when they don't work, they don't have income. So this family is very community driven. So for them, it's like even though the factory is closed, we make loss, we will still continue paying the salary to our workers. Because for family itself, they think that the business is supposed to be long run. We need to also keep these workers alive so that when the economy is open back again, we can keep the business running. So that would be, it depends on how the families value itself. And of course, there are some of the smaller scales of the SMEs, they really can't sustain anymore, then they close down. But I'm sure there are lots of family businesses, they are actually willing to take out their own saving and try as much as they can to sustain the business.
All right, thank you. And then I think the second question, you have answered the second question. The second question, what kind of business strategy, the correct business strategy in this pandemic era? Oh, that's an additional thing, especially in uh, product development and research. So this product can be accepted by the society. So it relates to the research and development. So what kind of strategy relates to research and product development in this COVID era, this pandemic era, right? Can you answer that?
Yeah, a lot of the family businesses during pandemic, what happened is they really have the second generation to push or the third generation or regeneration. The newer generation are actually pushing the older generation that to go for the changes and all that, because the older generations, they at the start of the pandemic, we didn't know how long this will go on, right? We just thought that after 2 months we'll be fine, so we don't have to change anything. But the new generations are the ones that are telling their parents that, yes, we have been doing this for the last 20 years, 30 years, or 50 years. It's been successful. But after I have read and do this research, we found out that actually this is not going to go away anytime soon. So we really need to change the way we do things. For example, embracing the technology, doing things online, e-commerce, or getting people to order via online, and also to be able to meet people online, not having only doing physically.
All right. So the answer is please adapt to the uh, digital digital connectivities. All right. So again, now the question from Pak Nur Ardiansyah. According to your research, does the family business model affect the accountability aspect? So it's about accountability. Your what is your to your research, does the family business model affect the accountability aspect? This
Accountability. Well, I think this has to do with something like governance, right? So, family businesses, they usually have total control for their own business. So, some family businesses would have a balanced board of directors. For example, two family members and two non-family members to balance out. Some family businesses are uh, totally, they only want their own family business to be on the board of director. So at the end of the day, it's each family business is different, and it depends on their choice. So long as they own the business 100%, what can we say?
all right. So the business model is evolve, I think. Yeah. So it will affect the accountability aspect. The business model will always evolve, and that can affect the accountability aspect. All right. Then, in the context, in the Indonesian context, so this is a tricky question. Can small and medium enterprises be categorized as family business?
Yeah, absolutely. Family business can range from small businesses to medium to large conglomerates. They are actually, in fact, a lot of actually majority of SMEs are also family businesses in Indonesia. So long as we see that the family own the business, they manage the business, and they have the intention for the next generations to come in, then they are categorized as family business.
Okay, cool. Then again from Cornelia, um, how far the innovation and technology can support the development to produce products that will help the continuity of the company. How far the innovation and technology roles help or support development to produce products for the continuity of the companies. All right.
Innovation is a two-sided sword. So on one hand, when you are being very innovative, it can be risky because when you become so innovative and the market is not accepting your product, then you're doomed. But on the other hand, the market is getting more and more competitive, right? So for example, just take a look at our Indonesian handicrafts. In China, they can copy exactly the same thing, right? Made in China, and it's exactly the same thing. So how can we then innovate something that to beat the competition, to beat the copycats? Or for example, other things would be other than the market competitiveness to beat the competitors, it's also we need to innovation also help you to reduce costs. If you are able to innovate and change your process, like for example, if you're willing to invest in a new machine, and then it might be more cost saving in terms of your materials or the time that it takes to produce, then you can produce more. So definitely innovation is a important part in terms of helping the business to sustain over long term.
Okay, thank you. And then before we proceed to the next questions in the chat box, I will give a turn for audience who wants to say it straight away to you. Please, one that raised his hand is Pak Irawan Yuswono. Can you please say it? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. A great presentation, Dr. Vera. When a company think about who the next generation will be, conflict often arise between whether to continue from the family or the outsider. When and how the plan, whether when the father is still there or later after, whether to be replaced immediately or waiting for the child to be mature or experience first. I think when a carry out the succession consideration of the management and ownership interest, I think that the need to be considered. It is a more conflict of the family company or family businesses has a large number of successors. What do you think? I think the problem can be the topic of my research. Thank you.
Right. Please, Dr. Vera, for your information, Pak Irawan also has a business, so we thought that you can give some insight. Thank you.
Is that correct, sir? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Pak Irawan. Do you want to research on your business then?
Yes, correct.
Okay. So your question is to how to prepare the successors?
Yes. Maybe the problem of the large number of successor. I think that and can be a bigger problem in the family business.
Okay. So what in the Western countries, what they do, you see, it's like branching out, right? So one generation and the next generation is nuclear, then having maybe two children. The two children each have two more children, become four, and then four of them have children again, become eight. So the number gets bigger and bigger. Yes. So what happens is it depends on whether you would have kind of like family constitution, so like a family law rules, like a booklet. So some of the family businesses they do this. So for next generations, before you can come in, you need to have at least 2 years of experience, or you need to have a certain degree before you can come in. So they set criteria. So then they filter out those who really want to be in the business.
Sorry, Dr. Vera. In Indonesia, family business usually do not have a well-defined structure. I think that's a problem.
Yeah, that's a problem that we can research on.
Yeah, I think the problem can be topic of my research.
Yes, definitely.
Well, a cool one. A cool one. All right. Thank you, Dr. Fera, for the answer. And then anybody wants to take deliver questions to Dr. Fera directly, you may raise your hand. And please, Pak Irawan, if you have finished, then you can lower your hand, please. All right. While waiting for somebody else that wants to raise the questions directly, we will address the questions again from the chat box from Miss Jenny Kuntari. What are the basic differences in the family business research agenda between the Western and Asia in terms of culture, which is more profitable between family business in Western and in Asia? So she wants to compare you to compare it. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for the question. The research agenda, general direction is there, but we are actually moving away from profitability. So we should be looking into other more in-depth things into the family itself, the family business itself, like how and why they behave this way. So you can look into how maybe how culture actually affect the way that family members behave in a certain way. Do we have conflicts in a different way compared to the Western world? Do we resolve conflict in a different way? The major difference would be like in the West, when they have conflicts, they usually talk it out. But in Asia, we usually are not comfortable with confronting. So this is one of the major differences between Asia and Western. So these are things that you need to consider about, for example, maybe the way that the Western research have proposed about how the conflict resolution, maybe you read it and you will see that it doesn't work in Asia.
All right, based on those differences, which is more profitable then between, is that Western type or Asia type? Based on your cultural differences that you have mentioned, which is more profitable then?
It's very hard to generalize about whether it's profitable or not. Yeah, it's each family business is different.
All right, that's the answer. Depend on the situation, right? The circumstances. Now I will give again for the audience who wants to deliver directly for Bu Triana Tohara. Please, you can say it.
Well, thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for the opportunity. Okay, Dr. Feranita, may I ask you some question about your research? Is there any significant influence of the Sharia values among the family business, especially in Malaysia, to the sustainability of the business? As we know that so many research inform us that the Sharia values-based business entity is more resistant to the volatility of the interest and the global COVID pandemic. Thank you.
Oh, excellent. It's a very under-researched topic. So you may want to consider researching on it. It's very under-researched, and I think it'll be a very nice topic if you want to go into it.
Okay. Will be attractive topic for the future then. Right. Thank you for the answer. And for Bu Retno Ika Sundari from the chat box, She questions about family business and family ownership. It is, are they the same or different? Have a different meaning? Family business and family ownership. All right. What is your answer? Can you answer?
Family business is an entity. So the feed business or the family firm or the family company that is being run and operating as a company, as an entity. So family ownership is the ownership percentage holding in this company, whether the family owns 10%, 50%, 100%, 99%. So that is ownership.
Okay, I think it's clear, very clear. And the second question from her, we lack data about family ownership in Indonesian stock exchange. Just banking, mainly banking. And then it makes difficulty to compare the listed and non-listed companies. What does it mean? Family ownership, concerning the family ownership in Indonesian stock exchange. Do you have a suggestion for this lacking of data about family ownership in stock markets in Indonesia?
So in the past, the Western world has been doing research using database such as stock exchange. For the future, it's not recommended to do that. So for future, it's kind of getting meaningless to compare between family firm and non-family firm. So the future research agenda would be better if you can actually get your own database, not only database. You collect your data, for example, either you are sending questionnaire to, but I think without a database, then you can't send questionnaire. Then would the more appropriate method would be qualitative research. That means you identify several family businesses, then you interview them or you try to research on them.
All right, interesting answer. So we have to build our own data, you suggest. Okay, from Bu Neni Aryani, family firm, is it more potential to practice real earning management strategy? I have no idea about this strategy, real earnings management strategy. Is it worth to practice it in a family firm? This strategy, real earnings management strategy.
Oh, I have to apologize. I'm not an expert in real earning management strategy, so I can't comment on that.
All right. Me either. I have no idea. Sorry to say, for Bu Neni. So you can research. Otherwise, perhaps you can research it again in finally Google.
Yes, Nanny can research, or maybe Nanny, Ibu Nanny can sample family businesses and check whether they practice this, and then you can check whether they are potentially, yeah.
Or Bu Neni, perhaps you are here, and then maybe you can make it clearer about what do you mean by this real earnings management strategy, because we have no idea if you are here.
Yes.
Right.
Let's say many entity in Indonesia. It's from building from the family firm, and then they have a lot of what kind of business, many business they have to be more unit. It's potential to make more management. We know that family firm is a lot of conflict in internal, and then in each unit it's possible to doing practice in real activity manipulation. For example, in strategy, each order of management and in unit of industry, in unit of entity, it's perhaps doing that. So in the future, I it's just my predict is in the future its potential to be more make a entity more collapse. So the one generation it can pretend that world in a future. So what do you think about this?
Okay, this you want to say something about potential conflict from so many units in in a family business. So, what is your opinion about this, Dr. Vera?
I think it will be very interesting if Buneni starts researching on it.
All right. Uh-huh. So, well, Buneni, you can research further about this part, and then yeah, I believe there's so many research avenue on that part, and that you can explore it further. Thank you, Bu Naini, for your questions. Okay, then again, hold on. You wanna have a look from Bu Ani Satyawati. How to measure the systematic literature review that we have compiled? Is this correct in accordance with our theme? So it's about how to do research.
Oh,
You
wonderful.
mentioned it before. All right.
Yes.
This deliver.
So for literature, systematic literature review, you really need to go through like you use some keywords to search for the papers, and then you have the number of paper that finally will be your database that you are reviewing on. So how do you measure if you have compiled is correct? It's not by measure, but it's by you read and it's called synthesizing. So you read and you
Untuk
see,
dosen itu
you see and you have the
pemberian penilaiannya kepada
Hold on.
mahasiswa. Misalnya kalau transparan kan itu dia
It's muted. All right. Okay, please, Dr. Feranita, can you proceed with your explanation?
Okay. So whether it's not about whether you have measure your themes correctly, it's about whether you how do I say? So you read and you find the themes that connecting all this and you propose a theme. Then you may maybe speak to after you send to a journal, then you will get the kind of comments from them, or you can, I don't know if your university has like research seminar, you can do like a presentation to see what are other people's thought about what you have found. So these are usually the way we get from the community.
All right, thank you. And then I want to give a turn for people who wants to say it directly to Dr. Vera. Anybody wants to deliver questions directly? Oh, okay. Bu Dwi Pak Dwi Cahyono, perhaps. Otherwise, I will make it. Okay. All right. So many disturbance, but it's common. Okay, now from your supervisor, my fellow, Lala Irviana. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
In your opinion. All right. So you can say it directly, I guess.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Dr. Made. Thank you for the opportunity. Dear Dr. Feranita, in your opinion, how promising as Indonesian scholars to explore family business study into contexts that not many Western scholars explored? For instance, religion, or just now someone mentioned about Sharia value. What do you think? Thank you.
Thanks for the question, Lala. And it's always good to propose new topics to the research world. But at the same time, we must also think who will be the one that is reviewing. Okay, so for example, when we are sending a publication to a journal, the editor had to look for 2 or 3 reviewers to review our topic. So our topic has to be somewhat that is new, but not like so religion. So for example, they might be having difficulty to find reviewers who really understand about Sharia law or understand about Muslim or understand about Catholic values and all that. So the way you write it is like you have to study something, but it's not that is not so deeply rooted in religion that they cannot find a reviewer to review it. So then you can to make it more understandable from the point of view, even let's say you are talking about Sharia law, right? But you have to make it in a way that someone who is not from the Muslim background can understand it. So you have to draft it for the audience who are international and make it understandable for them. But definitely it's quite promising, but it's just a way of how you are packaging it.
Okay, is that answering your question, Lala?
Yes, thank you so much.
And I thought from quite similar question from Dviana. I think a bit answered this.
Okay,
part.
Pak Made, can I have a time to ask a question?
All right, please, Pak Anis.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Vera. Great presentation, and you give me a lot of insight about doing research in family business. I just want to ask about research strategy, because as we know that family business has their own unique characteristic, different from publicly listed company and so on. And unfortunately, the data about family business sometimes is not publicly available. Then we have no choice. We have to go directly to the setting and so on, doing qualitative research and so on. I still remember when I supervised my student, he studied about CSR implementation in family business. Let me say Jarum. But it is not easy to find data to contact like a key person who know well about CSR. So what is the strategy should we adopt to make our effort to get data is easy? Because again, I supervise 2 students, but when we talk about family business, it's not easy. They are tend to be close to provide any data. Thank you. That's my question.
Okay, thanks for the question, Prof. Anis. So in terms of data, yes, family business is difficult. Like I said, they don't like to reveal too much information. So normally I would suggest people to go for people that they know, that you have connection. Yeah. So then you get directly in touch with them and say that can we like do a research on your company? But at the same time, you have to promise them that they will be anonymized and you will protect their privacy. So there's no other way. I know family business is the only difficulty we have is actually access to data. A lot of them they are not willing to talk.
All right, Prof. Anis.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you for your explanation. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. And then your answer, I think, has answered so many. Next questions from Farah Amalia is similar question on data access and how to handle it. You have mentioned it. And also from Pak Sidik Permono about succession, you have mentioned it, I guess, when you answer, when you address the question from Pak Irawan Yuswono about succession. I think similar. Again, data collection from Bu Ika Indriyasari has been answered. Well, a bit different question is from Bu Erna Christie about strategic planning. So I'm not sure. Strategic planning is used to prioritize effort, effectively allocate resources, align shareholders and employees on goals, and ensure those goals are backed by data and sound reasoning. Well, the question is, are you the natural owner of your next growth business? I have no idea about this. Can you deliver some opinions about this one?
I think maybe Bu Erna can propose a new research avenue with this question. The research question: are you the natural owner of your next growth business? Yeah.
Okay. I think for
I
that's
would
for
just
the research.
Before we move on, I will just add a bit about data collection before I forget. So for example, data collection, right, about family business, we are not always have to go for the big businesses. Okay, big businesses like for example Jarum Group or Sinama's Group, it's very difficult to approach them. Go for the ones in your neighborhood or your community. Your relative know someone, your friend's friend, or someone in your community, you can approach them. They are more willing to talk. Go for the SMEs or smaller businesses. Then your focus is about. Then you have more interesting data because for them it's like they don't really get to know a lot of the family dynamics of the smaller family businesses because we see a lot of dramas, stories on news about I don't know the Pak Riyadi of Lipo Group, right? Or but I think these are the other things are when we get data from the smaller family businesses, it can be really interesting. Yeah, just wanted to add to that.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Then next question from Pak Mulyadi. Is there a business market to reap the value of so many dollars? A business market to reap the value of, well, I have no idea about this. Is there a business market to reap the value of trillions of dollars on trends and data? Do you have any opinion about this?
For number one, to reap value of trillion, that will be the topic of entrepreneurship. How are you identifying the opportunity? You get the opportunity, you pursue it, then you hit the market of trillions of dollars.
All right. So the second question, I think is a bit similar to previous questions. Your opinion on strategy for family business research. Well, can you repeat some short, brief notes about this one, the strategy for family business research?
Okay. The strategy for family business research, number one is to really find, you need to first understand family business in the literature, okay? Read a lot and understand and find out what is not found yet. Second one is to come in with another discipline. For example, if you are psychology, anthropology, or even branding, take something new to bring into the family business research field, or even religion, spirituality, So we have actually moved on already talking about management or performance or internationalization. These are already so over researched. So the strategy is to understand what has been researched and bring in new insights into the family business research field. And number three would be to, hopefully you have access to data. So you have a few friends or families that you know and you can approach them to do case studies on them. So let's say, for example, you can do a case study of 4 family firms, in-depth case study, really historical, how they went from first generation to second to third. That would be wonderful. So these are the kind of data when you send to publications, they will, wow. Yeah.
All right, such interesting notes. Very interesting notes from you, Dr. Vera. Then the third question, what strategy, family business strategy survive in this pandemic period? I think you have answered this one by adapt to the current situation, right? For instance, to the digital, go to digital sites, use the digital improvement in this pandemic period. You have answered that question. Next questions, Brianna has explained directly to you, to Yana Tohara. Okay, Sharia value. Sharia value. Now from Pak Didik Suyatno, regarding the sustainability business in the future, what are the key success factors for family-owned company? Key success factors. You have mentioned it before, but can you make a very short or brief answer about this one? Key success factors
Key success factors.
for family-owned company or a family business to sustain in the future.
Have proper succession strategy in place. Not to be afraid to relinquish control or ownership. You know, I have seen a lot of family businesses in Indonesia, especially the owner. They put their share in their children's name only to avoid tax. And then they have another notaris paper saying that I'm just tagging your name only, I own it, yeah. So that kind of thing between generations. So maybe it's time for the older generations to actually trust their children that they have proper communication and have proper planning. So that would be the key sustainability for Asian family businesses.
All right, thank you. Then the next one is I think you have mentioned it before, but can you give us just a short and brief? What are the strong points of the family business compared to a public one? So non-family business. Strong point. Thank you.
The strong points are several. So first of all is the resources. So family businesses have their own, well, their family wealth. So when a non-family business facing a loss of, let's say, 3 months or 6 months, they would just say, we will just file bank, we'll close it, right? We're not going to sustain anymore. But for family business, because they have the family wealth, they can still take their family wealth to come in and to sustain the business over this period of time and still keep going. And another strong point for one of the other strong point would be the family network that they have. So you can see how families, when they have family network, it's also something like, okay, they need something, they can call their aunts, they can call their cousins. So this is something, the social capital that actually the family business that has a complete advantage compared to the non-family firms.
Right, thank you for the answer. And now we have again an audience. One of them wants to deliver the questions straight away to you. Please, Rizkia Prima Rahayu, can you please deliver it?
Good
You raise your
morning,
hand.
Dr. Vera. I am a postgraduate student from Universitas Diponegoro, and I interested to taking about business resilient for family business, and I'm interested to take the theme about good governance practice and focus on their competition leadership. I would like to ask, according your opinion, as far as your experience, is there any chance they will be open to share their information about the theme? Thank you.
You mean the potential for the topic, or are the family businesses are willing to talk about it?
The potential, Doctor.
Potential.
Yeah.
Okay. Leadership and
good governance.
Leadership and governance has been researched a lot in family firms, in the field of family business. So unless you can bring in new insights, so for example, how our religions or culture affect the way they lead the company, you know, or how a family firm is why the way they govern this way, or why they govern. But governance has been researched a lot, like whether family firms should professionalize, whether they should have independent directors. I would say that this is quite a general thing. So my suggestion is find out something newer to add on to it, new variables, or you can find new variables from your research.
All right, Rizkia, is this answering your question?
Okay, okay. Thank you, Dr. Vera. Thank you, Mr. Madhu.
All right, you're welcome. Then, well, from this chat box, there's no questions anymore.
Maybe one more,
All
Pak
right.
Made.
Okay,
Okay,
please, Panis.
Dr. Vera, I see that from your paper, you studied about management control system in family business. So as a accounting scholar, maybe we want to know a little bit what's the characteristic or your finding about MCS in the family business, because maybe we have a unique finding or something like that compared to other type of business.
Okay. The later one this year, we use quantitative research to sample on the Spanish firms. So what we found out is that having this MCS system in the business then help the family business to better translate their values to make the company more innovative, because families can be less risk taking. They are not willing to take a lot of risk, but at the same time they want to have the business going long for the long term. And on the other hand, a lot of family businesses, they are not having proper system in the company. So they only thought about wanting to have a proper MCS when they are growing like bigger. But actually it should start from smaller. So we find that when they have a proper MCS system, it helps them to better translate their value into being innovative.
Thank you, Dr. Vera.
Thank you, Prof.
Okay.
Anish.
Thank you very much. And then, ladies and gentlemen, audience, Pak Anies has shared a PowerPoint here in the chat box. If you want to download it, please do it. And then, well, we haven't seen anything again in the chat box. So if nobody asks any questions, then maybe could you please answer my last question? I have a question for you too. All right. Indonesia has many ethnics. So, so many ethnics in Indonesia. So it possibly deliver various styles in managing family business, right? I think so. So the most interesting question for me is that how to make it publishable in a top rank journals. We have so many ethnics. Do we have to do it qualitatively, or which is more impactful? Do it qualitatively or quantitatively in terms of these ethnics? Thank you.
Welcome. I'm a qualitative researcher, so I'll say qualitative. But it depends on back again to. But the thing is, if you do quantitative and then you show to the publisher, okay, among these different ethnics, they are having. I'm not sure about that actually, but if me, I would think would be interesting to actually do the qualitative and really in-depth understandings of the ethnics. So how the ethnics, why and how the ethnics values would affect the way that they influence. Then we would give new constructs for the future research. I think that would be adding the wow for the researchers.
Okay, good point. Thank you. Then, guys, everybody here, and then do you have any questions again? Any questions that you want to share it directly to the audience? And also, well, we don't have it anymore. So thank you very much then. Could you please give us some final notes about your explanation here? Your message, perhaps your message. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks again to Prof. Anis for the invitation. Thanks, Dr. Imada for moderating, and thanks to Lala for introducing me as well. I really appreciate this opportunity to present and discuss my topic and with University of Diponegoro. So my final words is not final, but I hope that this will be sparking more interest from the research community in Indonesia to more research on family business. And family business field is really still young, and there's still lots of opportunity to publish. And I hope more Indonesian scholars will come up with quality research, and so more empirical data from this side of the world to show to the international scholars.
All right, thank you. Impressive notes from Dr. Feranita. So guys, I can summarize just a bit from what Dr. Feranita said. So Dr. Feranita she has explained everything about family business, from definition and scope, formal research, avenues for future research, including many things. And she has so many suggestions, especially on data access, and also she suggests to adapt in this pandemic era for the family business, and encourage you all to research in a family business, because so many things that you can explore in this family business. All right, thank you very much for your insight, Dr. Feranita, and last but not least for Pak Anis Kariri for these opportunities to deliver our fruitful discussion on this family business. Okay, then I will give it back the time for you, Pak Anis, and also the Master of Ceremony. Thank you. Okay, please, Pak Anis, I'll give it back to you. Thank you.
Okay, just a minute, Mbak Oni. Okay, because Mbak Oni is not here, maybe at the same time we also have another activities, graduation ceremony. I would like to thank to Dr. Feranita for giving us a wonderful insight about doing research in family business. A lot of things we got from you from a different perspective how to do research in family business. And again, thank you. Maybe next time we might invite you again to talk more specific issues in family business. Okay, again, thank you, and a great presentation, tremendous presentation, and provide us with some fruitful and profitable insight about family business. Okay, thank you, Pak Amade, for your time moderate this guest lecture, and I'll give back the time to Mbak Oni.
Muted. Mbak Oni still muted.
Still mute, Mbak Noni.
Still muted.
Udah. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Thus, the guest lecture delivered by Dr. Feranita from the Faculty of Business and Law, Taylor's University, Malaysia. Thank you very much, Dr. Feranita, for the meaningful lecture. Your lecture will be very beneficial for us. Respected audience, before we close the event, we would like to invite you to an online photo session for documentation purposes. To all audience, please turn your camera on so our operator can capture all of us. Please wait for all the audience to be ready. All right. All right. Wait for all audience to be ready. Let me count. 1, 2, 3. Put a smile on. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Respected audience, we've arrived at the end of the event. From the deepest of my heart, I do apologize for my mistakes in presenting this event. Before we close the event, let me inform you in bahasa. Mahasiswa kelas penulisan dan publikasi ilmiah konsentrasi akuntansi, kami mohon untuk tetap tinggal di ruang Zoom meeting seusai acara ini. Alright, we truly honored to have you here with us in this event, and we hope you have been enjoying yourself at this event so far. Thank you so much for the amazing enthusiasm and participation. All participants other than mahasiswa kelas penulisan dan publikasi ilmiah konsentrasi akuntansi may leave Zoom meeting room. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi
Salam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi
Thank you, Dr.
wabarakatuh.
Vera.
Waalaikumsalam
Yeah.
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, thank you all. You may leave this meeting. Thank you,
Thank you
Dr.
all.
Vera.
Thank
Bye.
you. Most welcome. Bye.
Thank you, Dr. Vera.
Thank you.
Oh.
Bye.
The insights.
Thank you so much, Dr.
I should
Vera.
laugh. Thank you.
Dr.
I should leave. Thank you very much.